The sun set over Riyadh in May 2025, but for Al-Nassr, the darkness had already arrived. The scoreboard at Al-Alwal Park read like a eulogy for a season of wasted potential. Another year had passed, and another empty trophy cabinet stood as a reminder of their failure. To the outside world, they were a global phenomenon, the most famous club on the planet. To their rivals, they were a billion-dollar paper tiger. They had the greatest of all time in Cristiano Ronaldo, and they had the undivided attention of the footballing world, but they didn't have a soul. Finishing 13 points behind the champions was a gap so wide it felt like an ocean. The 2024-25 campaign had been a psychological marathon that left the fans exhausted and the board desperate. Cristiano Ronaldo was scoring, defying biology at 40 years old, but his goals were becoming a mask for a deeper rot. Al-Nassr had become predictable. Opponents knew that if you isolated Ronaldo, the rest of the team would eventually suffocate. In this video, I am going to be showing you how Al-Nassr is becoming the most formidable club in Saudi with just one transfer. This is not just a story about a high-profile signing, it's a deep dive into the total reconstruction of a footballing empire that was on the brink of a historic collapse. We're going to look past the glitz and the glamour to reveal the tactical heist that took place in the summer of 2025, a move that didn't just bring in a new player, but saved a legacy. To understand the magnitude of what has occurred in Riyadh, we have to analyze the before and after of a single date, July 29, 2025. Before we dive into the tactical blueprints and the secret meetings that changed everything, don't forget to subscribe if you want to watch more of our videos on the evolution of global football. We spend hundreds of hours researching these deep dives, and your support helps us keep the lights on. The recruitment strategy leading up to that pivotal summer had been a target for constant criticism. Reports from late 2024 and early 2025 highlighted a series of catastrophic failures, 10 lost titles out of 11 attempted. The club was drowning in its own wealth, signing players who didn't fit the system and lacked the creative bridge to link the midfield to the attack. The team was top-heavy, leaning on a legend while the tactical foundation crumbled. There were frequent shifts in coaching and a total lack of a cohesive long-term plan. Fans watched in frustration as the team crashed out of the King's Cup to Al-Taawoun and fell short in the AFC Champions League Elite. It was the final straw. By the end of the 2025 season, the narrative was no longer about winning, it was about survival. In the summer of 2025, the club didn't just need a new player, they needed a total identity transplant. They needed to stop being Ronaldo's team and start being a formidable football club. The first domino to fall was the appointment of the tactical disciplinarian Jorge Jesus. He arrived with a list of demands that rattled the club's foundation, declaring that he didn't care about followers or past glories, he only cared about intensity. Jesus implemented a special approach for Ronaldo, managing his load to ensure peak performance. But to make this work, he needed a new centerpiece. He identified João Félix, a man whose career had become a series of almosts across Europe, as the only player capable of unlocking the Ronaldo paradox. Al-Nassr didn't just outbid European giants, they sold Felix on a Portugal connection that promised to turn the nomad into a king. The fee was 30 million euros up front, potentially rising to 50 million with add-ons. While the media mocked the move as a final payday, the transformation that followed was explosive. On August 30th, the world watched as João Félix made his debut against Al-Taawoun. This wasn't just a game, it was a demolition. In under 90 minutes, Félix scored a historic hat-trick, opening with a coolly taken effort in the 7th minute and finishing with a clinical tap-in off a Ronaldo deflection. This 5-0 victory deleted 2 years of tactical frustration in a single night. Félix moved in shadows that previous playmakers couldn't see. He drew defenders away from Ronaldo, creating a lethal fluidity that turned Al-Nassr into a machine. Alongside Kingsley Coman and the young Brazilian star Angelo, Félix provided the brain for a team that had previously played on pure instinct. By September 2025, Felix was at the top of the scoring charts, and Al-Nassr sat at the summit of the league. The Felix effect became the blueprint for Saudi dominance. The 13-point deficit of the previous year was gone, replaced with a perfect record: 9 games, 9 wins, 30 goals scored, and only 5 conceded. Even when Ronaldo reached his historic 100th goal contribution to the club against Neom's squad on November 8, 2025, the narrative had shifted. He was no longer carrying a broken team, he was leading a formidable empire. The defensive frailties that once plagued the team vanished because opponents were now too terrified to commit men forward against a front line of Felix, Ronaldo, and Koeman. This is the exhaustive history of how a club in crisis used a single strategic signing to solve a billion-dollar puzzle. Jorge Jesus implemented a system where the high press and fluid transitions became the new standard of Asian football. By late 2025, they were no longer a marketing project, they were a global dynasty. The project was finished, the machine was running, and the reign of Al-Nassr had only just begun. One transfer didn't just add a player, it added a soul to a club that had been searching for one since the day they signed the GOAT. If you enjoyed this 4-hour journey through the rebirth of Al-Nassr, make sure to hit that notification bell. We have plenty more documentaries in the works covering the biggest shifts in world sports, and you won't want to miss what's coming next.